next person who we are having here is a man, Mikko-Pekka Hanski, and who is actually telling about ideas, 100 ideas of forest. And I would say that we're sitting here like a sister and brother, somehow soulmates, maybe, kind of abandoning the vicious circle of like the business life we have been working with. And we learned to know each other through a project like a couple of years ago, and but never realized that we really didn't do anything. And suddenly through this glass house, we just met and very early stage already, just thinking about these ideas, what we could be working with forest. And I had been meeting the association for the forest workers and different kind of association and organization, and understanding that how important and how deeply the forests are rooted into our Finnish DNA as a persons. We are forest people and we should admit it, and it's nothing to be ashamed. I don't think that we are mobile people. We are just more sort of people where this whole country has been built from the forest, but also our relationship with the forest is very special. And when I read about Mikko-Pekka's, when he said goodbye to Idean, which he had founded in 1999 and sold to Capgemini in 2020, you said so beautifully that it's actually like adding, like just talking about the words as how important they are in your life cycle and building your story, but also like just how the intuition, imagination is driving you now in a different direction. And I think that it will be interesting to hear what happened with you, what kind of enlightenment you got, and what is happening, where are these 100 ideas coming, and what that will be.
Certainly. And while we are making the PDF appear in the over here, so thank you so much, Mirko, for inviting me over here and lead wonderful initiative with the World Hope Forum. I'm so for it, and really happy to be over here and honored actually to present my kind of like early stage intuition and imagination that might end up to something fantastic for all of us. Yes, yeah. So this is pretty amazing. So to give a very early stage idea about what does 100 ideas from the forest actually mean. The kind of like the question is how might we understand the infinite value of the forest over here. And in many ways, the infinite value or the forest is all about kind of like my personal relationship with the forest, the virtues of the north. And I think we all humans should redefine the relationship that we have with our environment in order to understand how we can go forward. But before going forward, I would like to give an idea about the past that I've had. So as Mirko told, I co-founded a company in 1999 that did human-centered design for many years, for 20 years. And it actually, I was so lucky that it grew to a global company. And at one point, Capgemini acquired the whole company. And then with 3 years of corporate life, growing the business all around the world, doing design for multiple companies, in 2020, I kind of like thought that the world of design is my past. Everything that I've learned, everything that I am right now is about coming from this one. But of course, the past is not your future, it's a building block for that one. So what is the future that I've been like thinking about? Then of course, I had to ask from the spirits where to go. Now, I didn't ask from Carlos Castañeda, who is the very interesting Mexican ethnographer, but I asked for my own thinking that where is the intuition, imagination leading me? Because when I'm redefining my path from the past to the future, kind of like it's a very interesting place, and I'm actually very grateful that I can be in that place. Now, my intuition had led me to explore 2 different domains. The other one is Ministry of Good Spirit, and the other one is the 100 ideas about the forest from the forest. And maybe at some point these 2 things will emerge, converge to one, but at the same time, they are now existing similar parallel. So the Ministry of Good Spirit is where I'm exploring the better world and how we treat each others. You can find a little bit more the information about from the website. And I have to say, Lee, that your World Hope Forum and this we should collaborate on this one in multiple ways. But the forest. So this is a picture from a very important place for me. It's a birch forest in Hartola, middle parts of Finland, and I am lucky to manage this forest for the future generations. And it's kind of like very beautiful place. At the same time, we humans tend to not to always understand all the aspects of the forest in a way that is kind of like more harmonious with the nature. At some point, we might feel that, you know, we cut down all the trees from the forest and that's it. We kind of get everything from the forest, but what does the forest get from us when we do these kind of things? And even in the small forest that I have, I can find everything from there. I have the shadows, I have the water, I have the light over here. From these building blocks, you can actually create all kinds of things. So I started thinking about, okay, I start making art in my forest. The art project that I have, it's a combination of 4 things. About understanding the science of the forest, creation of metaphysical nature path, doing collaboration with mushrooms, and then sparkling with imagination from there. So this happened like 3 years ago. I studied it. So I have a forest full of teenagers, birches that are like 14 years, 15 years, under 20 years of teenagers, and they're pretty wild. So to understand the young birds as they are, it's an interesting scientific journey as well. So I'm collaborating with teenagers, which some of you might know it's an interesting thing. Then the path. So I'm happy to collaborate with a environmental artist, Kaisa Perry, to understand. So if you create a nature path to the forest, what kind of path it actually could be? And right now we have an idea that we create this infinite loop that we're going to build into the forest in a way that is harmonious with the existing context. In addition to the path that we are creating, we are also collaborating with Hanna Huusko, who's a graphical artist here in Finland. And we've been exploring about a year and a half right now, what are the spiritual or the, let's say, folklore of the forest in Finnish thinking, and creating graphical components out of it. So these are some samples of the piece. So I have the bear, fox, and deer, and many others. Then the collaboration with fungi or the mushrooms is pretty interesting. These are just ordinary mushrooms that are growing in the forest. I think they are creating, as they are, art pieces over there. Very beautiful colors, interesting forms, or really interesting forms. I have no idea what this mushroom is. It feels like plastic, but it's really weird. I think Sami Talberg knows this. And then orange bowl mushroom.
It's not classified as edible mushroom, even though it's not poisoning either. Therefore, we can classify it as edible.
Yeah, it is kind of like edible. Like,
in my opinion.
Yeah, it's sort of like that. But anyway, if you look at these beautiful things, they are art that this forest is actually creating by itself. So now I have the forest science, I have the nature path and some spirits thinking, and then I have the mushrooms over here. And then finally is the imagination. This is my son Daniel, and he is sleeping. And I'm thinking about when a child sleeps, it's full of everything. It's a place of imagination. So I have interesting conversations with my son about what is the meaning of the forest over there. Now, basically is that I've been now a few years been creating a regenerative art with the birches of the north. And that's fine. That's great. That's a really nice thing to do. But how could I make a little bit more better impact to the world? Again, I asked from the spirits, and I kind of like ended up of thinking about that. Hey, if I have these ideas that I can collaborate with mushrooms, I have these wonderful conversations with my son, I can do interesting nature, environment, art over there, and understand the science of the forest, maybe we can amplify those to do something more. So I have a project or initiative, 100 ideas from the forest, where the idea is to create a movement that reframes our relationship with the forest. And I would love all of you to join this journey. But let's first think about what it's all about. I'm going to challenge the existing mental models. This is a screen capture from a couple of days ago from Finnish TV, where on the left we have the environment people, and on the right we have the forest industry people. And they're like everybody has their own opinion about what should we do with the forest. And I think we need to go beyond the polarized thinking that somebody is wrong, somebody is right, and do something else with the whole thing. Therefore, the kind of like finding ideas that everyone actually loves, ideas that are regenerative, and ideas that have over-generational value. So what are those? I don't know yet. So luckily, I don't have to do this by myself. There's like an unlikely friendship with the two persons like MP Mikko-Pekka and Kiitta Wallin, who are like inspired amateurs looking at this whole thing. So we are in a very early stage of this project. We have found out at this moment 3 ideas that has these everybody loves, have regenerative idea and over-general value. So we have 97 to go. Happy to hear of what you think. So what are we going to do? First of all, we need to find those 100 ideas. So we are on that journey. Maybe we don't have to find it right now. We can use some years and go, but we are on that journey. Happy to hear your thoughts about this. Then we're going to create a story about those ideas, a book. It's, you know, very simple. And then in order when you create the stories, you can celebrate the stories. So the idea is to create a festival out of these ideas at some point, and then scale to the world. Like some very beautiful things from Finland that came is Linux, that open source the operating system to the world, and so forth. We can apply the same thinking to the ideas of the forest as well. So I'm welcoming everybody to explore the infinite values of the forest. Here's my contact details. Don't be a stranger, please. And I even as a person, I have an Instagram and Twitter account as well. The last point, one more thing, is that when you really think about this very grand thing about 100 ideas from the forest, you're really thinking about the what does these words actually mean. And I know we have people from multiple languages over here, so maybe this might think that how complex issues we are talking about. So these are some ideas about how we understand the world. So the English world, the etymology is the time of man. The Latin mundus, pure elegance, the cosmos, the organized way, but the Finnish word maailma is a combination of earth and air. So even with the same thing, with a very simple word, world, mond, cosmos, or maailma, there are very different connotations to it and different sources for it. I think we have the same thing when we are thinking about when we say the forest as well. What does the forest mean? The idea of 100 ideas from the forest is to find the bridge between these different ways of looking at it, so that we can actually join together and do something worthwhile for the future. Thank you very much for this one. It's been a pleasure and really happy to have a conversation about if everyone has any questions.
I really think, the forest is only now being explored, and gradually we will learn more and we will understand better. And this is something which was necessary for a long time, and now it's happening. So I'm very grateful that there is all these initiatives and opening of science, to find out how intelligent the forest is and how it can help us maybe redirect even our own internet. So there seems to be so many things, secrets of the forest, which we will be able to explore. I know that as a kid, also the forest is the place of really fairy tales, because all the roots of the trees look like strange houses when you're very small. So it also has a very mythological component, I think we need. So yeah, well, people say if you should spend 15 minutes amongst trees every day, it's really good for your blood pressure and stuff. So I believe in those recipes from our encounter with nature.
Thank you, Lee. And
And I admire both of you just to jump from the, commercial bandwagons into sort of nothingness. And
Yeah.
it's very exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah. And
you know that in the United States, 12 million people quit their job. 12 million. So that's like a country in Europe quitting its job. And I think that is very telling because of COVID, that people just want to redirect their life. Not always the same purpose you are doing this, but there is definitely people are completely rethinking who they are, where they want to be, and so on. So that's very exciting. That's groundbreaking movement.
Yes, it is. It is like it's a huge transformation. What is actually going, which we don't even currently we don't understand it yet, because it's individuals. Because there is no coherent map of where people are going. It's happening It's very intimate. It's very it's a kind of non-directional. It's searching. Many of us are still searching, and whatever it brings, at least I think it
will be positive. It's positive. Yes.
Yeah, it's positive.
So yeah.
Thank you, Mikko-Pekka.
Thank you.
Bye.